What if the fate of Jamaica's next government all boiled down to a single constituency? It may sound far-fetched, but St. James West Central could be the tipping point that determines the country's next governing party. As the clock ticks toward Jamaica's next general election, likely happening by September 2025, tensions are rising. Imagine this. The difference between who rules Jamaica for the next 5 years could be decided by a single electoral seat, and it just might be St. James West Central. In this crucial battleground, we have two strong candidates squaring off. On one side is Marlene Malahoo Forte, the Legal Affairs Minister representing the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP. On the other, Dr. Haughton, a popular challenger from the People's National Party, PNP. Both candidates have their strengths, but this isn't just another election. This could change the game entirely. Let's start with the incumbent, Marlene Malahoo Forte. Known for her solid grasp of legal and constitutional affairs, she's no stranger to the political arena. In 2020, she won this seat by nearly 2,500 votes over Haughton. But that was during COVID-19, when many PNP supporters stayed home. Here's where things get interesting. Political analysts say the 2020 results may not mean much now. Voters are frustrated and disillusioned, and the mood has changed. A recent public opinion poll by pollster Don Anderson showed the opposition party ahead of the governing party. Malahoo Forte's focus on constitutional reform resonates with some, but whispers of discontent and voter fatigue are growing louder. Has she done enough to win over the people again, or is she losing her grip? Enter Dr. Haughton. This isn't your average political challenger. He's an academic, an economist, and someone who connects deeply with the people, especially the younger generation. Haughton's rise has been swift, and his grassroots campaigning has lit a fire under voters who feel left behind. He promises economic revitalization, job creation, and improved living standards, messages that strike a chord in St. James West Central's rural areas. Haughton's candidacy has energized many, and suddenly, this race is anything but predictable. Could his fresh approach be what the PNP needs to regain its footing? Why does this seat matter so much? Well, if the PNP wants to stand a chance at toppling the JLP, they have to win here. It's not just a target, it's a must-win. This constituency is like a domino. If it falls, others might follow, flipping the balance of power. But on the flip side, if Marlene Malahoo Forte can hold her ground, it signals strength for the JLP. Losing this seat, however, could spell trouble not just for her, but for the party's dream of a historic third term under Prime Minister HOLNESS. Here's where things get complicated. St. James West Central isn't just a single block of voters. It's a mix of urban and rural communities. Candidates must juggle messages that resonate with a wide range of people, from professionals in urban areas to older, rural voters who might care more about tradition and stability. And then there's the economy. Poor public services, such as healthcare, and the rising cost of living are on everyone's minds. Voters are asking tough questions, and both parties need to have more than just sound bites and promises. They need real solutions. Oh, and we can't forget about social media. This election won't just be won on the ground, it's being fought online. Dr. Haughton has been tapping into younger voters through digital outreach, which could be a game changer. Will Malahoo Forte be able to keep up, or will the power of social media tip the scales? If you are intrigued by this fight for St. James West Central, hit that subscribe button. We will update you on every twist and turn as the story unfolds. The road to election night is just getting started, and you don't want to miss a thing.
Just completed my morning exercise, and I don't get to do it often enough. But when I do get a chance to do it, you know, aside from the physical activity, it gives me an opportunity to think, especially during my cooling off period when I'm trying to recover from strenuous exertion as I try to do this morning. And I was reflecting on an important change in Jamaica that may have escaped many Jamaicans or may not be of importance to some Jamaicans in their consideration. And that is, Jamaica is becoming resilient. You know, resilience is the ability to withstand a shock or a blow to your system, to be pushed to the extremes, as I tried to do this morning, but to be able to absorb that shock, persevere, and recover to better than you were before. But importantly, you do this on your own effort. Now think about it. Yesterday, the Minister of Agriculture announced that farm gate prices for some vegetables and produce were trending downwards. And this is barely 6 months after Hurricane Beryl and tropical storms and unprecedented rainfall ravaged the sector. Now, why are prices going down? This is because your government, through good management of the economy, planned for shocks. We created a disaster fund, which we've never had before, never existed before. And this gave us the flexibility to allocate funds to agriculture, to support farmers, to getting back into the field and increasing their production. I also want to big up all the farmers who were affected, but who took advantage of support or even on their own went back into the field and increased production. I'll be the first to admit that much more work still needs to be done in stabilizing prices generally and food prices in particular. But we must admit that Jamaica today is different from Jamaica a decade ago, whether it is how we were able to respond and recover from COVID or the supply side shocks that occurred after the war in the Ukraine and the Middle East, or whether it is the ability to recover from unseasonal weather. Jamaica has done very well in withstanding and absorbing shocks and recovering. There are a couple of signs that you could use to judge the strength and resilience of an economy. And the first sign is the ability of the economy to continue to generate jobs for its citizens. And Jamaica has done incredibly well in this. We have the lowest unemployment rate, practically close to full employment. The other sign is the ability of the government to produce a budget without raising taxes. And, you know, this government has gone several budgets now, I believe 9 budgets, without having to come to the people to say, hey, we did manage the affairs of the country that well, things went awry, and therefore we have to come and take more money out of your pockets. This has never happened under our administration. The third sign of a strong and stable economy is its ability to manage and reduce debt. And Jamaica has done incredibly well in this. We've seen as the case study for debt reduction. At the end of this budget, we will be below 70% debt to GDP ratio. This is the lowest we have been in over 30 years. The fourth sign is that our foreign exchange rate trades fairly stable and is market determined. And the truth is that Jamaica has never experienced this level of foreign exchange stability, though we have a freely traded, freely floating currency, probably the only freely floating currency in the region. And the fifth sign of the stability of our economy is that we continue to have more quarters of growth than no growth. And when you put all of these together, it shows a strong and resilient economy. And these are facts that are undeniable. So even the most biased and jaded commentator can't deny it. The truth is, Jamaica is fiscal.
Hungry, 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 hungry days again. Hungry days again.
Jamaica is one of the most famous islands in the Caribbean, known for its reggae music, delicious cuisine, and laid-back culture. The island is home to some of the most beautiful beaches in the world.